Hello, and welcome back. We got two attacks the same day, both allegedly by U.S. veterans using not only the same car rental service, but also both served at Fort Bragg. We'll get right into these connections, let you know a little bit of sketchy accident history that Fort Bragg has, and more. Do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Now, for those of you that don't know, Fort Bragg is now known as Fort Liberty. It is a military installation of the U.S. Army in North Carolina, and it is one of the largest military installations in the world by population, with over 52,000 military personnel. 52,000. Fort Liberty covers over 251 square miles. It is the home of the Army's Airborne Corps and is the headquarters of the United States Army Special Operations Command, which oversees the U.S. Army's 1st Special Forces Command, Airborne, and 75th Ranger Regiment. It is also home to the 82nd Airborne Division, U.S. Army Forces Command, U.S. Army Reserve Command, and Womack Army Medical Center. Fort Liberty maintains two airfields, Pope Field, where the United States Air Force stations global airlift and special operations assets, as well as the Air Force Combat Control School and Simmons Army Airfield, where Army aviation units support the needs of airborne and special operations forces on post. Okay. Now, let's look at a couple of very interesting things here. The man on your left here drove his truck down Bourbon Street on January 1st into a huge crowd of people in New Orleans. He also had an ISIS flag in his vehicle. He is a U.S. veteran who served at Fort Bragg. Now, the man on your right, Matthew Livisberger, allegedly filled his Cybertruck with amateur fireworks and explosives, sat outside Trump Towers in Las Vegas, himself in the head, and then exploded the vehicle. He was a Green Beret and also attended Fort Bragg. Not very far apart from each other. Interesting? It gets just a tad bit more interesting. Both of these men who committed these attacks on the same day both used the same car rental service, Turo, to do so. Now, both of these crimes are very different. Let's talk about Matthews for a second, who, according to the Las Vegas Police Department, they had to use his ID and passport, his military ID and his passport, to identify who he was because the body was, quote, unbearable. Could not recognize it. Unbearably burned. But yet his plastic military ID and his passport survived. That's how they were able to identify who was in the vehicle. Now, the man who drove his vehicle down Bourbon Street, killing a bunch of people. Now, according to police, he was going to kill his family, but instead ended up going off of course and running a bunch of people over in his truck. Two very, very different crimes here. Now, according to Matt's family and according to records, Matt was a military bomb expert. His dad said that he could have blown up an entire block. Why would he just blow up this car? They also said he was a huge Trump supporter and that this seems very unlike him. Now, there's something we didn't mention about Fort Bragg. It is also home of the Army's Psychological Operations Unit. Now, let's look into a little bit about this. Psychological operations. PSYOP soldiers are assessed and selected for their intellect, critical and analytical thinking skills, adaptability, and mental resilience. They analyze operational environments, physical targets, and target audiences. Advise. Hannah, you're messing with my stuff.
Wait, it's yours?
Sorry. I don't know what just happened there. My daughter hacked into my stuff over here. They analyze operational environments, physical targets, and target audiences, advise on psychological effects, plan influence options, develop actions and messages targeting psychological vulnerabilities, deliver optimally timed actions and messages, and assess influence effectiveness operating in small autonomous teams. PSYOP units conduct military information support operations, Department of Defense deception activities, build partner influence capacity, and when called upon by the president, provide civil authority information support.
You have to unconnect the Bluetooth with this.
Now let me take you over here. Okay, the United States Army Special Operations Command, 4th Psychological Operations Group, Airborne, Dark Horse. Who we are. PSYOP forces are masters of influence, the core of information warfare. We conduct influence activities to target psychological vulnerabilities and create or intensify fissures, confusion, and doubt in adversary organizations. We use all available means of dissemination, from sensitive and high tech to low tech to no tech, and methods from overt to clandestine to deception. Okay. Now, Psychological Operations Group. Interesting coincidence that two attackers that made attacks on U.S. soil on the same day, within an hour or so from each other, that both used the same car rental service and both attended Fort Bragg, which again happens to be the Army's Psychological Operations Unit. Anybody who thinks psychological operations don't just mean others, but also mean the soldiers that attend themselves, just saying. Okay, now let's look at the very, very sketchy past of Fort Bragg. It seems to have a very high number of, let's say, accidents among soldiers. Okay, let's just take a listen to a few of them. January 10th, 2023. Special Operations soldiers at Center of Drug Trafficking probe. Fort Bragg. At least 44 on April 18th, 2021. Actually, let me pull this up and show it to you. At least 44 Fort Bragg soldiers died stateside in 2020. Several of them were homicides. Families want answers, but the Army isn't giving any. Now, Fort Bragg is the home of the Army. Oh, yeah, sorry. Missed it. I got that part already. June 14th, 2021, paratroopers were found dead in their barracks. Accident. December 4th, 2020, two men, Master Sergeant William T. Levine II, 37, and Army vet Timothy Dumas, 44, were both found dead at Fort Bragg training area. Fort Bragg soldier killed, three others injured in military vehicle accident, April 29th, 2022. Now, you got to wonder. It's a lot of accidents. A lot of accidents among soldiers at a big special operations military base. Maybe just a lot of coincidences. Maybe this is all just random. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Army files charges in mysterious Fort Bragg beheading case. January 13th, 2022. After disappearing during a camping trip, Enrique Roman Martinez became one of dozens of Fort Bragg soldiers to die recently under unexplained circumstances. A lot of unexplained accidental circumstances surrounding deaths of Fort Bragg soldiers. Now, we have to go off of what we are given, right? We are told that this Matthew was the driver of the Cybertruck, or was driving the Cybertruck, and that's who created this explosion outside of Trump Towers in Las Vegas. We have to go off the information we are given. We were told that this is the man who got into his vehicle and plummeled through Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Now, local residents in New Orleans that while the man in the truck was killed last night by police, the Airbnb that he was staying at burned down this morning. Nothing to hide there. That's not sketchy or anything. No, not at all. The body was burnt beyond recognition in the Cybertruck case. But again, he was ID'd by a paper passport and a plastic ID. We're talking this fire melted the guns in his car, but the paper survived. How else would they know who did it? Yeah, I thought the same thing. Now, the FBI, we know, is so trustworthy, and they want all of us to know that there is no link at this time to the Las Vegas attack and the New Orleans terror attack. No link whatsoever, according to the FBI. Few links, though, right? Same car rental company, all on the same day, both attended Fort Bragg. Seems like there's a few links here, but what do we know? We're not the FBI. Fort Bragg soldier killed, 3 others injured in military vehicle accident. A soldier with the U.S. Army was killed and 3 others were injured Thursday in a military vehicle accident at Fort Bragg, officials said. April 29th, 2022. The injured soldiers are being treated at Womack Army Medical Center. We are saddened by death of one of our own as a result of a vehicle accident today. Senator Major General Brian Menes, Deputy Commanding General of the Air Corps and Fort Bragg. Our heart goes out to the soldier's family and friends as we collectively mourn the loss of this soldier. No other details were given. Two men found dead at Fort Bragg identified as USA SOC Master Sergeant and Army veteran. Officials have identified Master Sergeant William J. Levine II, 37, and Army veteran Timothy Dumas, 44, as the 2 men found dead at Fort Bragg chaining area on Wednesday. Levine was assigned to headquarters at a headquarters company, Army Special Operations Command, according to a media release. Dumas of Pinehurst, North Carolina, was a Chief Warrant Officer 3 who served for more than 19 years. He had been stationed at Fort Bragg, according to a media release. Two Army paratroopers found dead at Fort Bragg in reported drug-related incident. 82nd Airborne Division paratroopers were found unresponsive and declared dead at the scene. June 14th, 2021. Found dead in their barracks at Fort Bragg, allegedly because of illicit drugs. Army officials said in a news release Monday that the 82nd Airborne Division paratroopers were found unresponsive Friday and declared dead at the scene. Criminal Investigation Command spokesman Chris Gray said investigators have credible information that unnamed drugs were involved. It's just another accident here at Fort Bragg. Just another deadly accident among our men. Seems to be a whole history of that at this specific, both of which, again, were attended by both of these alleged attackers. Family of accused Trump hotel truck bomber Matthew Livelsberger says he was a big Trump supporter, questions the incident. The uncle of Matthew told The Independent that he is confused by the explosion because his nephew could rig a bomb to blow up half the hotel if he really wanted to do damage. He used to have all patriotic stuff on Facebook. He was 100% loving the country. He loved Trump, and he was always a very, very patriotic soldier, a patriotic American. It's one of the reasons he was in Special Forces for many years. It wasn't just one tour of duty. Matt was a very skilled warrior, and he would be able to make it if it was him. And if he did this, he would have been able to make a more sophisticated explosive than using propane tanks and camping fuel. Some of it doesn't make sense. When he had the skills and the ability to make something more, let's say, efficient, his skills were enormous from what he had been taught in the military. He could have fashioned a bomb that would have obliterated half of the hotel if he seriously wanted to hurt others. And again, we were told that this was him because he was ID'd off of the ID and the passport. What do you guys think? So what do you think? This is all coincidence? Let me hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep spreading that light. And I will see you all next time.